I'm getting so tired. I'm getting so.
Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Now, Keith's got the key, but there's no guarantee that if he goes in there with this key that he's going to find anything. So he has to find a way to find out is anything in there. There's nothing that points to that. They just know that this dude, every time he transports something out of town, it's high figures, big money. Big money. And the information that they got, it's like six-figure money, right under six-figure money that they would be able to get a piece. You feel what I'm saying? So it's over $100,000, right at $200,000. They feel like they're going to get paid. They know that he's got this kind of money. And you know, have you ever wondered how dudes in the streets always know how much money the person has before they go do the robbing? How do they do that? Where do they get this information from? You know? See, Keith never questioned his partner about how does he know this? How do you know this dude has this money? But it has turned out every time that dude was right. Every time that he said dude and them got such and such amount of money, it's been on point. So Keith started thinking, he's got to know these people. He's got to know them because he's been on point every single time. But he really don't care. He really don't care. The money's been good. The money has been good. But that's important because if he knows these people, then he's double-crossing them. And Keith starts to think that he might double-cross him. He never thought that before until today. Until he had this thought of, how does he know this? How does he know how much money he has? How has he known in the past? So he's thinking, man, if he'll double-cross them and they got the bread, he might double-cross him. So he's telling himself, I got to be careful. I got to be careful. I can't be slipping on this one. So the dudes them dope boys that been sitting around talking about Keith and his partner, right? They know it's somebody with Keith, they don't know who it is yet. They decided to set a trap. Listen to me. They decided to set a trap because they know that there's got to be somebody around them that's doing the talking. It's got to be. It's got to be. Now, the two main guys is the one guy that they robbed at first and this other dude. They're the two main dudes, right? And they've been thick since they was teenagers. They know it's not them. So they start to, when they're around everybody, they start to talk about things that they normally wouldn't talk about. Stash spots and all this and that. But see, these stash spots, ain't nothing there. They're just trying to figure out who's the leak. So when they're around 3 or 4 guys that cop from them and kick it with them and all this, they'll say this to them. And then another group, they'll say something different. And then another group, they'll say something different. And based off of each group and the different information that they discuss in those little sit-downs, they'll be able to find who the leak is. They'll be able to find them. And lo and behold, it worked. They figured out who dude is, Keith's partner. But they don't confront him. They don't say nothing, they just watch him. They watch him. And they see that he's hanging around with Keith. See, they know what Keith looks like. They know what Keith looks like. Now they got both of them. They see what's going on. Now they're trying to figure, because dude, like I said, dude has got money now. That 60 wasn't nothing. He could walk away from it and chalk it. But see, in the streets, even if people don't know, you know what I'm saying, that you got hit and all this and that, right? And now, by now, they all know. His partner will know. But it's hard to walk away when somebody mistreats you in the street, because one of the things about being in the street, you got to be somebody that people think ain't going to go. You got to be somebody that you want your money. And you don't want people in the street, especially people that's robbing, to think that you ain't gonna do nothing when somebody come and hit you for your bread or your dough. You don't want that to get out. So he wanted to send a message. When I say this dude was up and coming in the streets, he was up and coming, man. I'm telling you. He was on a fierce path of up and coming. I'm telling you, coming, man, with it. He wasn't playing. He was not playing. So he decided that, oh, he gonna get Keith. He gonna get him. He gonna get him. But see, one day, while he had his guys watching him, guess who they saw? Guess who they saw Keith with? You know, Brandy. So when they took the pictures back to him, now him and his partner, the main guy that he kicks it with, that he been knowing since he was a teenager, they're the only ones that get to see these pictures, right? So they looking at these pictures and he's like, man, I know her. She was at the club with dude. Talking about this other dude, the one that she's been seeing, right? The one that Keith and them trying to set up and rob. She was at the club with him. So now dude them thinking like, hold up. They popping it like this? Does she know? Is she playing both of them? You know what I'm saying? What is her role in this? What she got going on? What she got going on with this? So they bump down on her. They bump down on her and they ask her. You know what I'm saying? They catch her out at the supermarket. They ask her. They tell her, we know what's going on with you. You mess with this dude and you mess with this dude, right? What's going on? So she looks at him. She plays like she don't know what they're talking about. She said, why you worried about who I'm seeing? Why you worried about that? And then she tell him, don't say nothing. And they's like, nah, we ain't gonna say nothing. But do you know what dude be doing? And she play, what are you talking about? And they just point blank tell her, say, dude be robbing out here. And you don't need to be with somebody like that. You don't need to be that. And let me tell y'all something about dope boys and robbers. They don't like each other. They don't like each other. Now, some dope boys used to be robbers, right? Some dope boys used to be robbers. And some robbers used to be dope boys. You feel me? But when you one or the other, you don't get down with them because either one of those livelihoods threatens the other. Right? Robbers threaten dope boys because they got to always be concerned about getting your dough kicked in or somebody following you and finding your stash. Right? And dope boys threaten robbers because they always trying to get rid of them. And some people cross the line in the streets when they get rid of them. And when I say cross the line in the street, I mean call the police on them. But you know, it is what it is. Everybody got to deal with the situations they have the way that they feel they need to deal with them. It is what it is. Don't ever think that people don't do that because they do. So they tell her that. They trying to turn her, you know what I'm saying, away from dude. They don't mind if she mess with the dope boy. You feel me? But she thinks about what's going on and she thinking that Keith's in danger. She's ride or die. She's with him, right? She loves him still even though he's mistreating her. And she knows he's mistreating her. She said, are y'all going to say something? They're like, no, we ain't got nothing to say. And that's another thing about being in the streets, y'all. See, when people think it's to their advantage, they'll keep secrets, man. Because they want to manipulate that angle. And like I said, man, Brandon look good. I'm talking about Brandon look real good, right? So you know what they thinking. Later on one day, you know what I'm saying, they'll be able to get a little bit of that, you know? So that now we ain't gonna say nothing. Don't you say nothing about us coming to you. She ain't got nothing to say. Now, you know what I was talking about in the last episodes where all of this stress is weighing down on her about keeping secrets from her mom and keeping secrets about getting high from Keith and all of these types of things because of all of the stress that he's put her under by bringing this back into her life. Now, she has to decide, am I going to say anything to Keith? Am I going to say anything to Keith? She really don't care about the other dude because she can walk away from that at any time, right? But she's trying to figure, what do I do? Do I tell him what happened? Because they didn't threaten Keith in that way to her. You feel what I'm saying? They just don't want her to mess with him because they know. But Keith knows that dude knows who he is because dude confronted him. Don't forget that. So he don't care. He's still playing this dude weak. not really understanding that dude has grown up now in the streets. He's matured. You know what I'm saying? He's got some battle scars, as they say, in the streets. He's learned a little bit more about the game and what he has to do to survive the game. And he wants to survive the game because he's committed to this life. So there's certain things that he knows that he's going to have to do eventually, and it might as well be done to Keith. Period, point blank. He has no problem whatsoever with that. None at all. So he's looking at the situation and he's weighing it up. What do I do? What do I do with this situation that I have with Keith? Well, she's looking at the situation. Let me take that back. She's looking at the situation. Do I tell him what's going on or not? And she decides not to. She decides not to tell him because she don't know how he's going to react. Now, she's just hoping that they get this done and they go. Because if they're not going to tell the other dude, which she has no way of knowing for sure if they're not, then nothing has been jeopardized. But everything's been jeopardized. Everything has been jeopardized. So Keith, with this bad information that he's gotten from his partner about another job that the first dude that he robbed put out there, this fake stuff, now they want to be greedy. Now they want to be greedy because they're talking about a lot of money on this one too. So in the meantime, while they're waiting on Brandy to find out, you know what I'm saying, with this key that she's giving them, where the spot is so they can come in there, they can go to it and leave without having to tear the place up, while they're waiting on that and waiting on dude, you know what I'm saying, so that they can hit him, they decide they're going to go get this other spot. And when they go to this other spot, guess who's waiting on them? Dude got some of them killers with him. And they catch him. And then they beat him. They didn't kill him though. They ain't kill him. They beat him real good. And they let him know. The next time we see you, you don't walk away from this. Basically telling him he gotta go. He gotta get out of town. Telling him he's got to leave. That means packing up, quitting his job, and leaving. Or they are going to put him in the ground. And they mean it. They mean that. But see, they get more traction out of running him out of town. Making him pack up and leave. Because people will continue to talk about that. But if they put him in the ground, they have to deal with the police. See, they're thinking. They're thinking. Ain't no law against telling somebody to get out of town. You understand? Yeah, they threatening, but he's got to decide if it's in his best interest. What he gonna do? Go tell the police that they beat him up because he robbed them? He didn't want to do that because his reputation was out there now. So he didn't want to go down there and do that. So when he gets back home, he tells Brandon what happened. She's crying and she's listening to him and she's like, what do you want to do? He said, we got to make this last lick and we got to go. If we make this last lick, we'll be able to go and we'll be able to do whatever we want to do. She looks at him and she nods her head. Okay, but she really don't believe it. She really don't believe that any of this is going to work, but she's with him. She's with him. And she don't know what else to do. But don't forget, you know, she started to see the holes in the relationship. She's starting to see how stressful being with him is. And if you're going to be in the streets and you're going to have a female on your side, you can't have her stressing out. Because if she's stressing out, then you don't have nobody to go to de-escalate. See, a lot of people don't really appreciate when they have somebody in their life that when they go home, they can lay their head down, talk to her, and she can calm them down, tell them everything is going to be okay, you know, make love to them, and tell them everything is going to be just fine. You feel what I'm saying? When you get your girl involved intimately in the business, she's stressed out, you stressed out. And that ain't going to work. You might think it is, but eventually it's going to crash. It's going to crash. She might not be made for that, but she's going to pretend to be made for that until it's shown to her that she's not. And see, that's what Brandon was getting ready to run into. That's what she was getting ready to run into. Because when dude came back in town, he called her. And when he called her, she went. And all the stress that she was feeling, he could tell. He could tell. So he told her, he said after they finished eating, then he wanted to give her a full body massage. So he told her after she finished eating, go take a shower, get undressed, take a shower, and go to the room. And he had the whole kit. He had the whole kit, the massage table and everything. He was going to give her a full body massage. And while he's massaging her, she's laying there with a towel covering her buttocks. She's laying on her stomach. She's naked. He's giving her a massage. He can tell how tense she is in her shoulders. And he's massaging her, trying to get her to relax. And he's talking to her. And she's just laying there. And she's thinking about all the different things that are going on in her life and how she would just love to be able to get away from all of it. Walk away from it. And he notices in the course of their conversation that she sounds like she's ready for a change. And that's when he tells her, he said, look, I can give you that. I can give you that life. But it's going to cost you. And she's like, cost me what? Because she's gotten used to dealing with dudes that it's always something. It ain't never just something for her. It's always going to cost her something. But she really didn't understand what he meant when he said it's going to cost her. He meant that you're going to have to decide if you want to continue to do what you're doing or you're going to have to walk away from it. So she's laid there. She's on her stomach now, and she's listening to him, and she's trying to figure out, what does he mean? Walk away from what I've been doing. She's thinking, does he know what's been going on with me? Does he know that I've been trying to set him up and all this and that? So she said, what are you talking about? Walk away from what? Walk away from a job that don't pay me enough to make it? You know what I'm saying? Walk away from an apartment that I can't afford no more? I done got behind on my rent? All of this is lies, of course, but she's playing her role. So he massaging her back, and he tells her, he says, I understand your situation better than you think I do. And I know what's going on way better than you think I do. And I understand that when a person gets put in a situation that they don't want to be in, that they'll do anything to get out of it. They'll do anything for the person that they love. And he told her, he said, I am not under any illusions about being in love. He said, that's why I don't do it. He said, but what I am on is about realness. And he told her, he said, I know you took my key. And I know you got a copy of my key. He said, because I got cameras all throughout this apartment. And I see everything. I might not see it when it's happening, but I look at it later. And he said, that's the only thing that you've done that made me wonder, what are you doing? What is she doing getting a copy of the key? Because you had no reason to take that key. But you did. And he said, I'm going to give you one chance. She's laying on her stomach now, and he's still massaging her back. And he's not being aggressive at all. His voice is calm. He said, I'm going to give you one chance to tell me what's going on, and I can help you with whatever you got going on. But if you're not honest with me, if you don't tell me the truth, you're on your own. And this will be the last night that we see each other. So now she's thinking about Keith done got beat up, done told he got to get out of town, right? About a dude that he robbed when he got out of jail. And now this dude here that she's been making love to over the course of a few months, telling her that he don't want her love, but he'll help her get out of a bad situation if that's what she's in, right? But she's gonna have to walk away from everything, and that includes Keith. That includes Keith, her job, and everything. But she's not gonna have to worry about anything anymore, right? What is the trade-off for her? Is this a good trade-off for her? And she's trying to figure that out. So he stops massaging her, and he tells her to flip over. And she flips over, and he, like a real professional masseuse, he takes and he puts the towel over her breast and over her mid part. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's seen every inch of her body in the most intimate way. Touched it, kissed it, licked it. You understand? She turns over, and now he started to massage her. And he removes the towel from her breast when he gets there, and he starts to massage her breast with the hot oils and all this and that. And she lays there and she's looking at it. And her body is getting excited, but that's not what's on her mind. She's trying to focus on what he just said and what this could mean for her. She wants to know if she can walk away from this and have the life that she's always wanted. Drug-free, stress-free. But how could she do that with a dope boy? How could she do that with a dope boy? So when she started to think about all of this, she started to think that he don't deserve this. He don't deserve what's about to happen to him. He's not a bad dude. But if I tell him the whole story, what's been going on, then how's he gonna see me? How's he gonna treat me? Because the way he had been talking to her, he's letting her know that he knows that she's up to something, but what is it? Because as far as she knows, he thinks that she might have gotten the key so she could come back there and stay there without him, you know, when he's not there. Because that's what she said to him that she needed. But he knows she's in distress and she's not telling him everything that's going on. He can tell something is off. So she decides to take the plunge. And she tells him, look, I know some people that want to do you harm. And they wanted me to find out some things about you, but I wouldn't tell them. Now, she's lying on that. But I wouldn't tell them. Because you didn't give me anything to tell them. But I don't want to do that anymore. You don't deserve that. So he goes straight to street mode. He said, who is it? She said, I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is that if you get everything that you have out of here and me and you leave tonight, they'll never know where you've gone, where we've gone, what you've done, what I've done. We just disappear. And if you don't want to be with me, just set me up somewhere else so I can get away from all of this. And he said, I don't do no running. Can't do that. Can't do no running. But what I have is I can offer you the protection that you need. You just need to tell me who you're dealing with. And now she's weighing it up, y'all. She's weighing it up. Is it her well-being or Keith's? And Keith's friend. She's weighing it up. And she concludes, man, that it's her well-being and not Keith's that she needs to be thinking about. So she tells him, I'm not going to give you his name. Just help me. But she said, what I will do is I'll tell you that more than me and you know who the person is. And then that's when she let him know that the dope boy that they were at the club with, he knows who it is. Because he said something to me about him and let me know that this person is a stick-up kid. And I have been seeing him, you know? So he calls dude, and dude tells him who it is and what they've done. They done beat him up and all this and that, right? So he asked her, he said, are you here tonight for him? And she was like, no. Again, she's not sure she could tell him that she is. But she said, I don't want to go back. And he told her, you don't have to go back. He said, we're going to leave tonight. He told her to get up, get dressed, and they were gonna leave. They were gonna leave. And when she got up and got dressed, she said, "Can I call him?" And he told her, "No. There's no point in that. We're leaving. He's never gonna know where you're at. We're not gonna discuss him again." But he told her, he said, "You do understand that, we're not gonna be in a relationship." And she said, "I know." He said, "But we can continue to do what we do, but we'll do it somewhere else." She said, "I know." She said, "I just want to get away from this." So she called her mom, and she told her mom that she was leaving. She was going out of town. She'll be back, when she gets back. Her mom asked her a lot of questions and whatnot, and she told her that she just didn't have a lot to talk about right now, but she was leaving Keith. So when she came out of the restroom, she told him that she was ready. They left. They left. But see, he wasn't being stupid about none of this. He wasn't being stupid about none of this. The streets, you don't just get to walk away from stuff like this. You don't just get to walk away. And besides, he believed most of what she said, but not all of what she said. That's the streets. So he told her, he said, "Look, I'm going to drop you off, and then I'm going to get some things wrapped up, and then wherever you want to go, I got you." And he promised her that. And he was a man of his word. This dude is major in the streets. I say he's major in the streets. So when he takes her to the spot that he had picked out for her, and then, for the time being, and if she wanted to stay there, that she would stay there, whatever, he got back on the road. And he called his partners and told his partners to go pick dude up. Go pick dude up. And then when they went to get him, to get Keith, when they went to get Keith, he's panicking because he's seeing dude now for the first time. Dude is with the dude that he robbed the first time. They knocking on the door. They telling him, "Man, we need to talk to you." So Keith, he ain't got no gun in the house. You know what I'm saying? So he looked through the peephole. He trying to figure out. He said, "Man, what y'all want?" So I'm finna call the police. I said, "For what? We ain't doing nothing, man. We just want to rap. Just want to talk to you." So while he was standing on the door, man, look here. He could hear them cocking that pistol. He heard that thing when it slid back. They said, "Man, open this door, man." He opened the door. They went in the house, in the apartment, and they told him, "Look here. The next time I see you, put you in the ground. Brandy's gone. You ain't got to worry about her no more." He said, "What you talking about?" He said, "She gone. You ain't got to worry about her no more. She with me." And he was like, "She with you? What you mean?" And he's trying to figure out what's going on. And he told him, he said, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And this the dude that they've been trying to con and get all the money from, right? He told him, "No, you don't know who I am, do you?" He's like, "No, I don't know who you are." He said, "Well, I'm going to put it to you like this. She don't know it, and you don't know it. But she finna be one of my main guys. Yeah. She with me now." So he looked at him as if, like, your main guy. He didn't ask him. He just thinking about it, your main guy. And then it started to dawn on him who dude was. Dude was a real pimp. Dude was a real pimp. And he was finna turn Brandy all the way out. Finna turn her all the way out. He done tricked her with Keith's help. Keith messed her mind up, and he took advantage of it. He saw the vulnerability. He saw the weakness. And now she done agreed to go with him, thinking he gonna save her. But in the streets, ain't no saving. See, that's what a lot of people don't want to understand about the streets. The streets are what they are. See, that's what real street love is right there, y'all. It takes everything away from you to the point to where you have to lie to yourself just to give your life any purpose, any meaning. And that's what this is about. Brandy was finna be a prostitute. She don't even know it yet. She's gonna find out in a minute though, when he gets back to the house. And Keith, who knows what really happened to Keith? It's been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.